It seems there's always a price to be paid for a good time. And for all the fun and revelry that alcohol can provide, it does bring with it a heavy cost for overconsumption. Sort of a biochemical self-defense mechanism. And while in your teens and 20s, it's easy to shrug off a hangover, as you get older, hangovers become more and more physically brutal.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised.
However, with some slight modifications, you can mitigate these soul-rending, bowel-churning, nightmarishly introspective talks with the devil into something a lot more manageable. Just keep in mind that while this guide will keep you out of hospice care, you still won't be running any marathons the next day. There is no magic bullet cure for hangovers. But if you're anything like me, that's something you'll never really learn.
I'm not going to call the hospital because you won't learn anything if I do.
After more than 13 years of living, working, traveling, and, of course, drinking my way through Eastern Europe, I have compiled a comprehensive strategy of both preventative and palliative measures to help you party smarter. This will leverage both modern science and ancient Slavic wisdom on how to handle a hangover. This is the most effective strategy for minimizing or stopping hangovers altogether. Except for just to quit drinking.
You're really ready?
Yes. I'm ready to quit drinking.
That's not what this is about.
Ah, thank God.
So grab a handful of aspirin and a bucket of pickle juice, because I'm going to teach you guys how to treat a hangover. Phase 1 of hangover care starts before you even take your first drink with preventative measures. Pace yourself. There isn't a ticking clock on your drinking, and the booze isn't going anywhere. Unless you're trying to power through happy hour on the Titanic or ruin your sister's third wedding ceremony, there is no need to rush. Eat something in between drinks. A lot of boozing in Eastern Europe happens around a dinner table with friends. It allows you to build up a sort of buffer while sliding into that warm, fuzzy buzz, and stay in that Goldilocks zone of drinking for longer. Less can be more. You can only really get so drunk before it feels like throwing gasoline on napalm. You certainly won't enjoy yourself any more at 16 drinks than you would at 12. After a certain point, it's just wasteful. Know your limits. Sober you knows how much you should drink. The problem is convincing drunk you to listen to the limits you set at the start of the night. Go out with the knowledge you will only drink a certain amount over a certain period of time and stick to it.
7. 6.
Bedtime prep. Before you even set out for the night, put together a little care package for your future self near your bed somewhere you are sure to see it. And hopefully you're cognizant enough to remember to take it. The water will help hydrate and give you something to take the charcoal with. The activated charcoal will absorb some of the leftover booze in your stomach, and the banana will provide much needed potassium and sugar to help bring your body back into balance. Now we end the prophylactic phase of hangover maintenance as you gently drift off to dreamland, and we enter the second phase, palliative hangover care. Hangover treatment. If you manage to follow most of the advice from the previous section, your day will likely start off a bit better than it usually does upon waking. However, I call this initial conscious phase after a night of drinking the false start. Typically where I would just go to the bathroom, wash my face, and have a glass of water, and then try to go back to sleep for another hour or for an entire REM cycle. Once you are fully awake, you can take stock of your life and begin treatment of that nasty hangover. Eastern European hangover treatments are mainly centered around various methods of hydration. Feel free to mix and match these solutions depending on your hangover severity and your personal preferences. But don't be put off by these drinks until you actually try them, as they are incredibly effective. so feel free to stock these ingredients at home as a just-in-case means of treatment. I will add a list to the description. The king of all hangover treatments in the former Soviet sphere is Borjomi. Its salty, high-mineral goodness helps return vital minerals to your battered body, and the bubbles always help combat that post-booze queasiness. For more detailed info, watch my Borjomi video. Another Eastern European classic is to drink pickle juice. Similar to Borjomi, it has salt and minerals that help rehydrate and revive you. The dill and garlic that is in pickle brine also helps if your stomach is unable to hold down anything more substantial. Think of it as a very thin vinegar-based veggie soup. Pickle juice is also good after a heavy workout or a physically demanding day. If your stomach is only mildly irritated, then there are a variety of milk-based drinks that can help soothe an enraged tummy. The most common would be Kefir, something like a mix between buttermilk and yogurt, so it not only helps an upset stomach, but it also helps to restore your gut biome. If Kefir is too thick or off-putting, then there are similar drinks called Ayran and Tan, which are more Turkic takes, and they're a bit thinner and easier to drink. The final level of hydration is to eat a meal consisting of soup. From a gentle bone broth to something as hearty as borscht, in Eastern Europe, soup heals the soul. While chugging pickle juice with a Borjomi chaser is the most traditional way to ease your hangover, it's not uncommon for Slavs today to just order McDonald's and Coca-Cola and have it delivered directly to their door, so they can then eat it in a stupor in their underwear while watching Netflix. It seems that this has become a global shared human experience. Hair of the dog. There is a common practice in Eastern Europe where people will get right back on the drink almost immediately. Some do it as a form of self-obliteration, as the sweet siren song of the void is too strong for some, while others do it just to take the edge off. Typically, the most common hair of the dog, or pachmelitsa, as it's commonly called, consists of either a single beer or 50 grams of vodka. Just keep in mind that this is a dark path to go down, as you may end up making things worse. Especially if you don't wait until a little later in the day, as you may end up just delaying your hangover while further intensifying it.
How can you be drinking after last night?
How can you not?
Additional tips. Take a hot shower to the point where the bathroom gets steamy, and then in the final seconds of the shower, switch to cold water and stand under the water just a few seconds to give yourself a bit of a shock. It tends to be incredibly refreshing without being as physically demanding as a trip to the sauna. 30 to 40 minutes of brisk exercise. A walk, a swim, lifting weights, just enough to get the blood pumping, but not anything physically demanding, typically helps. Whenever you eat or drink for the first time in the day, take a multivitamin to help restore some of what you lost in your rampage of self-destruction. Take valerian root extract. It will help with the anxiety and elevated heart rate that can accompany a hangover. This can really help with the more emotional elements of your hangover. It comes in either tablets or liquid drops that you can add to a glass of water. Don't drink multiple days in a row. It seems your liver has something of a refractory period. You really need at least one sober day between bouts of drinking as your body comes back to homeostasis. That and the fact that the quality of the drunken sleep you have is notoriously poor. You want to go to bed with a clear head the day after drinking and give your body and mind time to recover. Grin and bear it. If you've taken all these steps to minimize or treat your hangover, then the only thing you can do now is wait for time to heal you. So, wait it out, think about how you'll never ever do this again. That is, until next Friday evening. If you follow all of these steps, you'll be able to better manage your morning after and be a bit more responsible while still having fun. How many of these tips do you already follow? Is there anything that I missed? Let me know your secret hangover cure in the comments. Until next time. Thanks, guys.
Mr. Lee, is this you talking or the liquor?